What's happening, everyone? We got a special Halloween episode.
Yes.
Here, back by popular demand.
Hey.
Zuke is with us today.
What's going on, guys? I'm back.
Zuke bin Laden?
Yeah, Zuke bin Laden. You see, it's the Halloween edition. I did my best. I came in character. So don't worry if you hear a couple of, gibberish. Don't worry. That's just me getting in character.
Well, cheers, buddy. Good to see you.
Indeed. Definitely. Likewise.
So it's Halloween, and I actually was watching. You ever see? I'm trying to watch all these slasher movies because it's the season,
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Terrifier?
I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen the opening, probably the first 30 minutes of it. So I haven't finished the whole thing, but I have seen some of it, so I have a little bit of knowledge of it. Just a little bit.
I've been watching that, and it's just it's kind of, there's just so many memes about it right now that it's okay, I got to watch it just because of the memes and because the little shorts with the lady playing the banjo and stuff, but it's it's really, probably for you, it's kind of, you're desensitized to it, but when he saws that lady in half from the middle down, it's
that's gruesome for sure.
At some point, whew,
yeah.
I was like,
and you know what? They don't make stuff they do and they don't. I feel like some of the older horror movies are a little bit better as far as realism. Now you got the CGI and the, everything's kind of staged a little bit. But back then they made stuff way more graphic, I think, And
it seems because you get the close-ups of the knife plunging in, and it's all of a sudden there's a goop of blood. It's
yeah.
How many dummies did they have to make of those people?
Man, for real. how many takes did that take? And then it's just because they got to do it just to get the perfect one, the spill out, everything. It's so just like you said, how many dummies that you have to stab to get the right one? You know what I mean?
The right amount of splatter.
Exactly.
Really you want that splatter.
Exactly.
And you want that kind of that kind of hard cartilage sound when you get into it.
Yeah. Exactly. You kind of turn it a little bit here, maybe hit some, some bones a little scrape or something. So you definitely want to have those details in there for sure.
Yeah, obviously I'm not dressed as anything scary today. I'm Tiger King.
Hey, listen.
Joe Exotic.
That guy's good enough. Joe Exotic.
I might never financially recover from this here.
I know, right?
Sanford, come here. We'll show Sanford. Sanford, where are you at? Is he over? Okay.
Yeah, he's right there.
Sanford, come here. Come up here. We got Sanford as a tiger.
Yeah, we got the tiger.
The tiger is here.
There he is. I know, right? He's in full character.
I got to let him out.
Yeah.
He wants...
I was going to, for all the people that were wondering, I was going to do Bob Ross. But as you can see, I have a lot of hair. And it just didn't work with the afro wig that I had when I did it previously because my hair was much shorter. So this is what I came with today, still creative. Not scary, but it can be for some folks. You never know.
It could be scary. When they broke into the cave and they got him, he was playing what was he playing? NBA 2K or something?
Yeah, he was definitely playing video game, which is a whole nother sorcery. How are you getting Wi-Fi, any type of connection in a cave?
This is pre-Starlink too.
Exactly.
So,
which is so that's how the money that he had was stretched well far beyond what we thought.
Oh, he was balling out.
Well, come on now. It was that whole thing. That whole era, I feel like the cat and mouse game that they played was all strategic. It was we're America. We knew where he was at, but it's money, funds, all type, when
keep it going.
Exactly. Keep it going.
If you keep it going,
exactly.
Then you're well, everybody eats that.
Exactly. Everybody eats, when you see something's profitable by, a cat and mouse game, then they're gonna play that card as long as they can, which they did,
Yeah.
And it was unfortunate.
And it's you look back and you're man, they fucking fooled us.
Man.
Hit
us with the old hokey doke.
Yeah.
It's insane. I tell people all the time, when I explain life to people, I just ask them, I say, have you ever seen the movie The Matrix?
Yeah.
It's almost, that's pretty much we're being blindfolded from the truth, you know, and then you have to choose whether, you know, you want to see what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then we're kind of programmed into this thinking a certain way, and, you know, everybody's got to be like this and that and the third. So we got to get rid of that some kind of way.
I don't know what it's going to take. Something big, right? Like something, because you think back, like, for what 9/11 was, right? 9/11 brought everybody, on 9/12, everybody was like, we're all in this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that could really happen today. You know, it would have to be something like aliens come down.
I know, right?
Maybe aliens come up, or maybe they just take their masks off. I don't know.
Exactly. And I mean, just like you said, like, everything's been covered up so well. It has to be something indefinite for everybody to be like, okay, whatever's going on here, like, you know, we need to reevaluate. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I mean, there's such a spin game, you know, and it seems like it's kind of like being found out because, you know, you can spend like an hour or two with somebody doing something like this, and they see like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit, or oh, this guy's cool, or this guy's a real person, you know?
Exactly.
So, in time, you know,
definitely.
But I was gonna say, speaking of, I was coming back to Tiger King.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new one that they have? The
documentary?
the chimp one about the chimps.
I haven't seen that. I've seen the previews, but I haven't watched it. Have you seen it?
I've seen a couple. It is kind of weird. It's so, you know, with the tigers, it was kind of like a power thing. You know, because like, I'm in charge of these big tigers, but they didn't really give a shit about the tigers, right?
Exactly.
They had the incinerator out back.
Exactly.
You know, and with these, it's like it's mostly women.
Okay.
And they have these chimps, and they're kind of like, you know, surrogate babies. And it's not just like these women couldn't have babies, so they like imprinted on a chimp or whatever. They've got human children, and they like favor this chimp, you know. And it's almost like they try to like make the chimp into their own image.
Yeah.
And like it's really more disturbing.
Yeah. That's the feeling I'm getting as you're explaining it to me. It seems disturbing.
Yeah.
I can't put it together. As you're telling me, I'm trying to put the pieces together, and nothing's kind of like matching up. You know what I mean?
When you're wondering, like, is that all?
Exactly.
Are they just like,
what else? What's the underlining situation going on here? You know what I mean? When you see that,
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Because there was that one lady that she had the chimp. Remember Travis the chimp?
Yeah, I do remember.
And she gave him like wine and Xanax. I mean, you know.
I mean, come on. The thing, I think people, the chimp, I guess that's the most humanoid, you know, thing that we can, you know, correlate to ourselves. So I think that they do that and try to put it on an intellect level, but it's almost inhumane in our sense. Like, what we're doing is like, it doesn't really make any sense because you guys are trying to make like human sense of what's going on here.
Yeah.
But they are intelligent beings. But it's like, that's what, like you say, it goes to be like, what's really going on here? Like, I want to know what the underlining issues are. Like, what are you guys trying to actually find out? Right.
And it's odd because it's like, they're the most violent ape. Well, I guess second to us, but you know, like,
you ever seen one? They'll like flex on you and like
large muscle,
one huge muscle. Yeah. It's just like, you don't want one to grab you for sure.
And it's like, you see a gorilla and it's like, damn, that thing's even bigger, but it's super gentle most of the time. You know. And did you know, like, I just found this out the other day. Gorillas used to be mythical creatures. Yeah, up until about like 100 years ago.
Oh.
Because nobody had been into these forests, you know, where they were. Yeah. And so it was just like gorillas were like seen as a mythical creature, like 1850 or, you know, were cowboy times. They were talking about gorillas like we're talking about like a Sasquatch.
Yeah. It's like,
you know,
a gorilla was a dragon back then.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, these gorillas is like, there's no way. But it's like, when they see them, they're like,
it's wild.
Yeah.
And then like all of a sudden, like 1850, gorillas are a myth, right? But by like, I don't know, 1990, right? We had one speaking sign language.
Exactly.
That's wild.
Which shows the intellect, like, that is very wild. Like, and I always say, like, it's crazy, like the comparisons that some people do, just like, like with the gorilla, like the sign language, but all that is over time and training and things of that. But it just goes to show that just the brain itself, you know what I mean, is a fragile thing that can be manipulated and, you know what I mean, kind of not manipulated in a bad way, but, you could be shown the ways and like learn things. I always thought that was cool for sure.
Yeah, be formed and everything. Like there's physical, you can train your brain to like form new physical paths, form new circuits, new neurons and stuff like that. It's a crazy thing and we don't really know much about it. But it's why are we so attracted to chimps and not necessarily gorillas? Like we should probably try to be more like the gorillas than the violent chimps,
I mean, and I think that goes to just kind of like the society leaning things towards a certain way, because why shouldn't we be like the gorillas, which are softer, more intellect, more human-like, I guess you could say, when this more barbaric with the chimps.
I mean, the chimps may be just more human-like. I'd like to say the gorillas are more human-like.
You know what? That's a good argument. I didn't think about that until you just said that, but they may be more human-like, because the chaos, just like us, is probably normal. You know what I mean? And nobody really sits back to think about that. And, so, I mean, I feel like just like the system that what's going on, I just feel like everybody just feels they want to blindfold you from what's actually going on. Did you vote?
Not yet.
Are you going to?
Oh yeah, I have to.
So I'll admit something. I've never voted. I've never voted. Not just because I'm biased, but I just always felt like I should never have to pick between two lesser evils. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, so I look at it as just like, if I don't feel that any party is good, and then I feel like they sell you dreams just like anybody does.
Oh, yeah.
And then, oh, we're going to do this, that, and the third. And then when it comes, it's like you guys go a completely different way.
Mm-hmm. Until it's time to campaign again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my wife, she calls me ignorant. She's like, oh, well, you say that proud, like, and that's kind of ignorant. I said, well, not really, because I said, I feel like it's not fair for me to have to choose a lesser evil as opposed to it's going to happen anyways. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to see what happens and know how I have to move accordingly within the system. You know what I mean? So, but I feel like everybody says that, every vote counts and this and the third. And I've never been a part of the pool, so I don't know. But I feel like if there's something significant that I can see, further and, later on in life, then I will vote. But what are your stances on that? I mean, as far as...
Well, so, politics is a crazy thing, right? And I've kind of been a slight interest of mine ever since I was a kid, right? Okay. Riding around in my grandpa's truck and listening to like news or music or whatever, like old jazz sometimes. And but
the old AM stations.
Yeah, the AM stations, right? And we're just like in this 400,000 mile Toyota Tacoma, cruise around making delivery stops. And so I think my first time I voted for George Bush in his second term with, W's second term.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, they fucking tricked me.
Yeah.
So then I voted for Obama.
With the hokey doke.
Then I voted for Obama, and I was like, you fucking tricked me too.
Yeah. And then you really hit me with the hokey doke. Yeah.
And then it was like, well, what can you really do? And so I was doing third party, and then I penciled in some, and then it was just like, it's discouraging, and I don't blame you for being discouraged about it.
Definitely.
You're not the only one that thinks that. Mm-hmm. But and we're in California too, so it's going to go a certain way regardless.
Exactly.
We're not in Ohio.
Programmed to go, left or right. Like that's how it is.
Like none of them come around here.
Exactly.
Like they don't come through here.
Yeah.
Because this is already won. Just like whatever Texas has already won, Florida's already won.
These are the ones that like once it happens, we don't have to worry. We'll just we need to travel around other places. Like these places are going to be taken care of. We don't even have to be there, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's not just the president to vote for, though. It's like the local stuff, which matters a lot more.
Exactly.
You know, and actually, so talking about the lower kind of elections mattering more, that's where like George Soros will sink a lot of money into. Like some people will buy out the local elections. And I think, you know, there's a certain amount of international influence now coming to the local elections.
Yeah.
You know, where other countries now take a stake in who gets the position for sheriff for, you know, some county or whatever, you know, and it's everybody is getting involved now, and it's getting so muddy.
Yeah.
You know, because you got one
real
side,
murky.
You got one side, and it's like Russia's pulling one way, Iran's pulling one way, China is just seemingly like murking the waters all around, and it's like, well, all three of these guys are really working together. You know, so and they're pulling in different directions, and it's just at one point you just have to like. You can't pay so much attention to what people say, what goes on, what you read and what you hear. It's what you feel.
Exactly.
You know, and what you like, what you represent, you say like the best way forward, but really nobody's going to adhere to anything that they say anyway.
Exactly.
You know?
So it really just like, I mean, it bases off of just feeling. You have to have the feeling to know like, look, I'm confident in this person to where I feel like they can make a change somewhat that, you know, that's on the lines of what I think. You know what I mean? It may be a thin line, but any type of change, I feel like for anyone is a good change, you know, because I mean, you got to crawl before you walk. So you have to understand with the politics games, it's going to be very small baby steps, you know, because behind the walls, they're, you know, I feel like they're all working in cahoots together. You know, I feel like, you know, they put this battle up like, oh, we're against each other. But I feel like once it's all said and done, everybody's at the same round table speaking about, you know, sharing ideas. So that's where I feel like, you know, that's where my doubt and things like that come in. But what you did mention, like the local stuff, I need to start looking into that because I think the local things and where you are in your immediate area, I think that counts a lot more than the other things. You know what I mean?
You feel it a lot more.
Exactly. You feel it a lot more. I mean, I've had numerous conversations with people. They're like, we need to get Newsom out of there. Like he's, you know what I mean? Like get Newsom out of there. I don't know much about him, so I don't like to be biased because I don't pay attention to a lot of the stuff that he does. So I don't have an opinion on him. So and I just tell people, I'll be like, well, I don't really know. I just ask him, how much does it affect you? You know what I mean? I'm like, you feel this way. It's like, how much does it affect you? And like, and if it affects you enough, how much are you willing to sacrifice to try to change it?
Right.
That's really the, you know, that's the thing that you have to know. It's going to be a sacrifice. It's not going to be immediate. And it's just more, and to be honest, these days it's more generational. You have to know that you're making baby steps to go further in life. You know, it may not happen in your time, but you want to pave the way, you know, for later on. Right.
But that's not really a good, our strong suit as really Americans as far as like playing the long game.
Okay.
You know, like I would like to, you know, but China's the champion of the long game.
Come on now.
You know, I mean.
The reigning champs. Come on. I mean, they have the technology. I mean, just look at how it's almost like they're training their children from a very young age, which I don't think is a bad thing because you want to develop the mind at a young age to know that, you know, you're superior, you're good, you know, you want to be confident. And I feel like they build that in their children. But out here, they're worried about like, they're putting gender stuff in elementary and stuff. And like, this is going to be what we learn. It's like, and like, I just found out that like in our military, like you go to the military, they'll pay for a sex change. That's not what the military's for. But I need fighters in,
well,
you know.
They'll do that in prison, I think now too.
Exactly. They'll do that in prison. And that's another thing I heard Kamala Harris, she was talking about that. Like, you know, you can get that. It's like, do you realize what that brings? Like, so people now are saying, let me just go to prison real quick.
Yeah.
Get a sex change and come out and I'm going to be back new.
Or how about this? How about I go to jail for raping like 10 women and then I get a sex change and I go into the
come back as a woman.
Do it again.
Yeah, and then now I'm a woman, and I just raped 10 women. So it's like the cycle never changes. And see, that's the type of stuff I feel like they put their money into, that type of stuff that has no real substance. But as like we were talking about, like China stuff over there, they're doing things. They're putting knowledge into the children, which which is substantial, because that's what it's all about. Knowledge is power. So and that's why they're the reigning champs, because they understand that. Mm-hmm. And I just feel, and we're us as Americans. We don't. A lot of people don't know that we're in debt. I mean, America is owned by China.
We spend 3 times as much as we make.
Exactly, and that's the and then even still, when we have this whole lifestyle program, like you go to school, get a house, but then people don't realize once you get the house, you spend more time at your job than you do in your actual house. Then you're paying for it, and then I'm paying 30 years for this house. I'm at work longer than I'm in the house.
Well, unless you work from home.
True, which is common these days.
It's common.
So
I mean, me
exactly. Look at it. It's common these days. So it's changing, but. Man, I just feel like it's such a setup, and
it actually was, because the whole education, not like an education system, but like the education, like I guess you could say how it's organized.
Yeah, just like the rituals.
It was made for making everybody into factory workers.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not there anymore, and so our school system hasn't caught up. Like, it hasn't modernized.
Exactly.
I mean. Sure, we see those, and maybe your kids are too old for this, but like I see this homework that they bring home, this math homework, and it's like 4 times 7. Oh, okay, that's 28. No, that's not how you do it. You have to make 28 little circles, and you have to put a line here, and then you have to group it by this, and you have to. And I'm like, but no.
Yeah, like what? Like, all of those extra steps are unnecessary. Like, I feel like we were taught just the basic mechanics, like this is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
4, just like you said, 4 times 7. This is how you get it.
Yeah.
You don't have to make 27 squares and what I mean,
right.
Cross things out. Like, it's a straight answer.
Well, when we did it, it was this is 4 times 7. It's 28. Why is it 28? Because math.
Exactly.
And they say,
because of math.
Because if you separate this and this, and you take this and you group these, it's 4
they
little
use
groups of
variables as opposed to math.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variables involved with a lot of the new mathematics systems, which is, like I was reading something, and it was saying just like, even it says like the English language is terrible. Like, it's like the worst language, because it's like it's too common, like it's too easy. And then they say some of the other languages, like the fact that they're a little bit more intricate and harder, it makes your brain work a little bit differently, kind of programs your mind to know, like, like just to know that, things are a little bit better.
Yeah.
And and I thought about that. I was like, what, that may be true, because, I mean, as far as America, we're far behind on the totem pole.
Sure.
With a lot of things in, as far as different countries.
Mm-hmm.
So it just gave me a different outlook to be like, when you start looking like that, like, man, what, just, and then that goes in, like, I'm a big person on like energy. And like I tell people all the time, like, we don't understand how much what we say affects who we are, everything in the long run. Like, people be like, oh, I can't do this, or, I can't just be like, well, now you can't, because you already told yourself you can't do it.
Now you definitely can't.
Yeah, now you definitely can't, because you've already told yourself, hey, I can't do this. But, you have to understand that there's power in words to know, to be like, what, I'm having trouble with this. Let me find a different approach so I can solve the problem. And I think if people can get that outlook in life, like, if everybody can think like that, then I think we'd be well off, because everybody's so worried about, why is this happening to me, or this, that, and the third. And every time things happen to me, I'll be like, it's problems, but I look at the world and stuff, I'll be like, this is very minute compared to what's actually going on. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter. I'm like, I look at other stuff and be like, my situation really means nothing compared to what's going on. So that's what, and that's kind of like my happy place. Like, I can know, like, if I'm mad or upset, I'll be like, I'll go here and be like, okay, just go back here, see what, reset and look at it and be like, it's never that bad. You know what I mean? And I feel like
you have to take a step back, because we have this tendency to like put the blinders on and say like, oh my gosh, I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know, like I just
Exactly.
fucking can't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, like why am I even here? I'm useless.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like things like that where if you think that, it's one thing, and if you say that, it's well, two things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but like it's you manifest it. You know,
Exactly.
it's like it's. I've had these kind of times where it's like, I'll give you an example, which happened maybe a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy brings his, well, he's an electrician, so he came over here to like help us with some electrical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was driving his Mustang up. It was on one of the episodes before.
Yeah.
So he's driving it up, and like 15 minutes out, his clutch cable snaps, right? And so I'm like, just get it towed here, I'll fix it. So he gets it towed here, we put it in here, I'm fixing it, he's in my house doing electrical things. And I get the clutch cable all out and everything. I'm trying to get it unhooked from the clutch pedal,
Mm-hmm.
and everything I'm doing is just stripping this screw. And I'm like, why is it? And I was like, dude, why is this thing in here so hard? He's like, oh, well, it came loose before, and all I had was my a bigger screw that one was in there, and my impact gun.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh no. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to get this off. So I
Yeah.
tried to drill it, but my drill won't fit because it's up inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm never going to fucking get this done. And I was like, no, there's a way. There's
Yeah.
a way. Just get it out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Get it out. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to bend this fucking clutch pedal back.
Okay.
So I like took my like grips and just like bent this thing back, took the thing out, put the new cable in there and bent it back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Good to go. But
Yeah.
like if I was going to be like, I'm just never going to do this. Okay.
You
It's not gonna
defeated
work.
yourself already.
Yeah. Just
You know what
grab
I mean?
a couple blankets, spend the night. You know, it was midnight
Exactly.
already. And they're like, my wife was like planning on it. She was like, just have them sleep in the, I was like, no, I'm going to get this done. You know,
Yeah.
it was to the point where like he got there at noon and it was midnight, me trying to get this thing out. And I was
Yeah.
like wearing like a tank top and I was like, no, the thing was dirty anyway, but you
Yeah.
know, like you got to do something like that to get yourself psyched out.
You know, you got to like pump yourself up. Like, look, I'm about to get through this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter what.
What would Macho Man Randy Savage do?
Exactly.
You know?
All the great guys are looking down on me right now, and I'm shaming them. I have to produce right now.
I got to do it. I got Chuck
Exactly.
Norris watching me.
Exactly.
I got Hogan, Harrison Ford.
We got Bob Ross over here. Come on now.
And G-Dub, who I found in a dumpster in Chico.
Oh man.
That was my first one. I was walking by and I was like, somebody threw away G-Dub.
Come on now.
You know, so I was like, I grabbed him, and that was like right after I voted for him, you know, when I was
Yeah.
still tricked. And brought him around, and he's been in every house ever since.
Hey, listen, the
He's
reigning
seen some
champs.
things.
Yeah, he's seen some things.
You know?
They have seen things that no man has ever needs to see, okay?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is great.
But, you know, I like, that's the kind of thing where you're talking about. It's like you manifest it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, no, I'm going to get this done.
Exactly. You got to get it done.
And,
you know?
I mean, it would have sucked if I really still couldn't, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
For sure.
But you got to, you know, it's one of those things.
I got to show you the picture one of my friends posted when I was Bob Ross. And then there was a picture of Bob Ross somewhere, and he posted me on it. It was pretty funny. I know it's in here.
Wait, this was when he was still alive?
No.
Oh.
This is just this is this year. So, but it was just like something at a place I went to. They have a picture of Bob Ross, kind of just like that, and it's up. It's a pizza place that I go to.
Oh, really? Is it around here?
Pizza Supreme Bean.
Oh shit! That's the same one.
Exactly right. I'm like, that was spot on when I did that.
Is that your hair?
No, that's a wig.
Holy fuck! I was about to say.
Yeah, that's a wig. So it was That's what I'm saying. But, you know, I cut out a little, you know what I mean, little paint thing. But I was like, it was spot on, man. It was perfect. That's why I was like, I was kind of upset I couldn't come as Bob Ross today.
Damn. You know, he was like a drill sergeant.
Was he?
In Vietnam.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know I did see like something on him to where like none of his kids, like the wife, like he had remarried, and the lady that she was with, she like had control of everything, so all of his kids don't get none of the like royalties or nothing. Like they're just like she gets everything.
He's not even. So I think one of his sons is a painter, And I think he's on like TikTok or something, but he's not allowed to
use. Yeah, he can't use. He can't even use his own name. His name is Bob Ross.
You can't even say Happy Little Trees or some shit like that.
Exactly. It's like he can't say anything that his dad used to say. And I'm like, that is terrible. I was like, that just goes to show you like the lengths that people go to like hold wealth. You know what I mean?
Frank Zappa had that same thing with his kids. He had a son named Dweezil Zappa. And of course, his daughter named Moon Unit.
Oh, God.
And I think I talked about this a couple episodes too, but he has his son Dweezil, and he doesn't, he's not allowed to like perform any of Frank Zappa's songs. You remember Frank Zappa from like he's super experimentalist, right?
Yeah,
and
for
Dweezil's
sure.
kind of the same way. Mm-hmm. But this guy can shred too. And he used to be like an MTV VJ, but he can't use any of Frank Zappa's songs. And I think he's the only kid out of all four.
Okay.
And he's also the only kid out of all four who has any musical, like real musical talent.
Yeah.
And he's the only one that's like been shut out.
What?
And that's shitty.
Yeah, it's like, come on. It's like you got to start giving these people their credit, man. Letting them shine the way that they're supposed to. You know, everybody wants to hold some type of power over someone else. You know, and that's like crazy to me.
Yeah, for no reason. It's not like you can use it either.
Exactly.
You know, it's like you just want it so he can't have it.
Exactly. You can't go up there and say it and do anything. You're not profiting off of it. You just don't want anyone else to profit off of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even fair. When you're already getting money, I'm sure, from royalties and this, that, and the third, you just, that's just going to show the world, like, United States, we're stingy. We're
it's like
stingy people.
It's like the oil companies buying up the patents for like the cars that run on water.
Exactly.
Before they off the guy.
Yeah. It's like, before they off them, be like, find that black book and then get rid of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that stuff, like people like making their cars run off of straight water, this, that, and the third, and then these people get the blueprints, and it's like, you got to think how much money they're going to lose. Mm-hmm. We start running cars off water. There's water accessible everywhere for anybody, so they're going to be like, oil, everybody, you guys are going to be in the negatives. So there goes all your, luxury dreams and everything. And they're like, we're not going to let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because oil still has a place, even if it's not
for sure.
in like the actual fuel, because plastics come from it.
Exactly.
Food, sadly.
I mean, and you still have airlines, things that aren't
Right.
going, you have airlines and things like that, like to where the oil is still going to be flourishing. So, but I feel like 10% is too much for them. You know what I mean? It's like if any kind of cut, they're like, no, we need all hands on deck. So we need everything. We don't want to take any shortcuts and be missing any money. But
I know. Well, we're supposed to have flying cars right now.
Exactly.
And what the hell? I got TikTok.
Yeah. You guys sold my, like, that, I just seen something like they were supposed to release, like, the first flying car. It's supposed to come out this year. Everything's postponed. It's like, all of this stuff's like you guys, but I feel like it's ready. But they know that you're not going to get the amount of money that you have to make them more, what's the word I'm searching for? Just money efficient. You know what I mean? It has to be affordable. You can't just keep making everything $1 million. And you're going to sell 100 of them. And then what?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of one thing that's interesting about kind of like the times that we're in, right? We're about to go into, for what the definition is, World War III is here pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're going to really see what they've all been working on. Mm-hmm. We're going to see all the weird shit that's going to come out pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like have you seen those water drones that look like the manta rays?
I have seen those.
Where did that come from?
That is not only is it genius, but it's like just like that. Where did that even come from? We didn't even hear it. You just started seeing prototypes of that.
Yeah, it's like, I read some article that's like the U.S. has a need for underwater drones, and like 2 weeks later, these new manta ray drones.
We have manta ray drones. Yeah, it's
forever.
And just record and just see what's going on. It's like, man, and then they're using like sonar and things of that nature with those stuff. So it's like that's dangerous. I would say it's good for us, but still dangerous.
I mean, but what's the next step? And the next step, it's like pretty soon it's going to be Skynet. Pretty soon we're going to catch our own.
I was just telling somebody that. I mean, look, Elon Musk just dropped the $20,000 robots that you can buy, which, by the way, look just like the robots from I Am Robot with Will Smith.
Well, they're suing him, right?
Are they?
They're suing Elon for taking
for the likeness of their.
Yeah.
Listen, I would have did it too, because when I seen that, I was like, that just looks just like the movie. I'm like,
yeah.
He pretty much like scanned that and made it so it's like you almost didn't even have your own idea with that one. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of reasonable, them suing him for that.
I don't like that it's called Optimus, because I'm a big Transformers fan.
Me too.
And I don't feel comfortable like, hey, Optimus, get me a beer.
Exactly.
That doesn't sound right. No, Optimus is
superior.
Yeah, he's the leader of the Autobots.
We don't ask him to do things for us. He's doing things already on his own gesture, you know what I mean, to help us.
He was the cartoon robot father that we never had as a kid.
Exactly. Come on, like, and you call him Optimus. Yeah, it's like at that point, you should have just said you can create your own name, program a name for yourself for your own bot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That would have been much better for people, I feel like.
Like Jeeves.
Exactly.
Bring ass Jeeves back.
Yeah, Jeeves.
Yeah.
Blow his head off and it grows back.
Oh, yeah. Like Men in Black?
Exactly, on Men in Black. It's like, oh, God, that stung really bad. But hey, look, it's going to grow back. That's the thing.
So that guy who was that alien, he played Monk, right? That's the same guy that played Monk.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the same guy. That is him.
My wife, she's been like, she'll binge watch these old shows as she goes to bed. You know, like sometimes it's Frasier, sometimes it's Monk, or whatever. But like, and I was like, what the hell has that guy been in? And I saw that I think he was an alien in, he was in Galaxy Quest. He was one of those guys in Galaxy Quest.
He was in Galaxy Quest.
No, he's been in something else. And I watched Men in Black with my kid. I was like, that's the fucking guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Old Jeeves.
Jeeves, yeah.
Yeah, he's funny, man.
The gun store.
Yeah, the gun store for sure. Yeah, that was good, man. Classic scenes from back in the day. That stuff is good, man.
And it's also, it kind of made people think like, hey, maybe they are really aliens walking around and stuff.
I mean, I believe it. Me personally, I believe in extraterrestrial life. I feel like you can't think that why would life just be flourishing on this small spot in such a vast area?
Well, that's also a scary thought, is that's it. You know, then life becomes so much more fragile if it's just here.
Exactly.
You know, and that's a thought that's like, it's scarier than there's thousands of different alien species out there. Most of them are more advanced than you, you know.
And I think it's the fear factor of the advancement, because you have to think anything that you encounter had to been there a little bit before you know, or they have the ability to travel. We don't, you know, I mean, we can travel, but only so far. And if they came wherever they came, it came from, you know, plenty of time back. So I think like that fear factor is what tries to get people to normalize, like, hey, we're it's just, you know, this is, you know, life is fragile. It's just here. We got to keep it this way. And, you know, it's almost propaganda. It's like a program that they want to run to be like, you know, to keep you like, look, we got to go like this, you know, this is the way of life because we're so precious. But I'm a firm believer that there are, you know, other entities, things of that nature out in the world, because I feel like, you know, it's not hard to make up this body, you know, in a sense, you know, I mean, everything that we're made of is from the stars and everything of that nature. So we're already a part of the universe. So why wouldn't that coalesce, you know, further away in other places? That's just my thought, though.
Well, it makes sense, right? Because there's so many other planets, and there's a significant amount of planets that are just kind of pretty close to this one. You know, that are even that I've read are even more habitable than Earth.
Exactly.
How can that be?
Yeah, cleaner air,
what?
like, you know, water's, you know, purified up to 100 times.
Yeah, it's like, how is that possible? It's like, this place is more home than this home. What, is the couch cushier?
Yeah,
you know,
real.
like does the water get colder when you drink it out of the faucet?
Man, does it stay cold when you know what I mean? So, man, that's the thing for sure. But I think it's like, it's a thin line, I think, just between what people think is normal and I think like we're programmed kind of to not think outside of the box. You know what I mean? We want everybody to kind of stay on this straight line. But the second that you veer this way, you're kind of an outsider, you know, and everything. Or you go this way, you're even more of an outsider. But I feel like those turns and you know, twists and turns in life are the things that are essential to make you figure out, you know, what's going on, and like that life is much more than what we think it is, you know?
Right. Well, it's also, you know, it also kind of helps form you, you know, like.
Definitely.
And I mean, speaking of forming, right? Like you mentioned earlier, China, you know, they have their TikTok and we have our TikTok. And our TikTok is just like, this double chunk chocolate cookie.
Yeah.
And chicken bang. And it's like, of course I'm a Costco guy, like all that bullshit,
Exactly.
right? And theirs is, hey, we solved cold fusion. You know, like,
Exactly. It's
like look at my little cold fusion project. You know, and it's all that. It's like,
yeah, it's like we've discovered antimatter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things of that nature. It's like it's intricate things, and I think that that's what separates, like, you know, them from us. It's like we're over here. We want to be popular. They want to be intelligent. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big difference. Like popularity and intelligence. Like you have to know how to determine those two. And then you have to know how to cipher them. And then, you know, because knowledge is power, so you can't let it overcome you, you know, because some people, I noticed that a lot of people that, you know, just given in my line of work, you know what I do for work. So I see a lot of people, I talk to some of them, a lot of them were doing good and very intelligent. And, you know, but so I feel like intelligence is a blessing and a curse if you can't handle it, because if it's too much stuff going on, people don't know how to, and then you just fall and subdue yourself to life, and they just think like, hey, I need to do this, or these drugs are gonna get me to think slower, or, you know, I don't know how they, you know, determine it. But like there's this one dude, I call him the speed reader. I see him around at work, like he's walking by, he always has, I call him speed reader because he always has a book, but he's flipping through the pages like, you know, he'll like this.
Jeez.
I think he's actually reading them, because I stopped and asked him, I said, hey man, I was like, what's your name, man? You know, he's flipping through the page. Sometimes he might be like screaming. And I was like, hey man, what's your name? He was like, oh man, how you doing, man? My name's Montana. Just like that, in like that manner. And like, you know, everything like the normal, like he normalized himself. And I was like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? When I was like, here go $10, you know what I'm saying? Go get you something to eat. And he's like, oh, thank you, brother, man. I appreciate it. And I was like, okay, for him to snap out of whatever, you know, because when I seen him, he, you know, walking through just, you know, tripping, walking down the street, you know, fighting the air. And then when I talked to him, he was just so serious. And I was with one of my coworkers. I looked at him, I said, he might be really reading them books. I said that I was like, I called him the speed reader for a reason. I was like, I think that he's actually reading those books. And some people just have so much knowledge that they can't control. And I feel like it'll make them fall into some type of warp, you know, and they don't, you know, they feel like, oh, well, I'm strange, or I can't take all of whatever's going on inside of me. So let me slip into whatever makes me feel normal, you know? So, but that guy, that's what I know. I'm like, I feel like that he's actually reading these books, because like you'll see him walking down the street just like this, page to page. Like he might be like this sometimes, but you know, he's flipping through the pages, and I'm like, somewhere in that fentanyl conduced mind,
shit,
there is some genius in there. You know what I mean? I'm like, they just don't know how to harness it. But that just goes with energy. You got to know how to feel your energy out and, you know, display it and things of that nature in life.
I mean, some of the drugs could just be an escape, right?
True.
You know, and so like it could be completely overwhelming to have all that, because it could be just like thoughts in his head that are like constantly voices that are just like this and that, and you can't shut it off. And so that's the only way to like numb it for a second.
Exactly.
And that second becomes a minute, and the minute becomes an hour, and the hour becomes a day.
Then it becomes your life.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I think that's like, you hit it on the head with that. That's like exactly what it is. Because like a lot of people don't understand, like knowledge is a thing, you know, it's energy. You know, and energy is like a frequency wave that, you know, that you can, you know, it's calculated. So if you have those frequencies flowing through you and you don't know how to handle them and, you know, displace them, I feel like it can let anybody, it could take anybody over. I mean, I've done it myself. I mean, I'm getting older now, so like I've learned how to harness and like teach myself. Be like, I was I just got an old school, got a 1972 Impala 2-door, right?
What?
Yeah.
Did you just buy this?
I did. I literally had it like 3 weeks. I just bought it. 1972 Impala 2-door. Got a 400 small block in it. Like I'm about to bring it. Runs and drives and everything.
Wait, it's a 70 what?
72.
So it's smog exempt.
Yes. I know smog. I can do whatever I want to the.
Oh, we got no.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get some.
This is a cheersable offense here.
Sure.
What? You're gonna come in here and you're gonna just buy a car? But you just bought a classic car and you just glazed over that like that?
My first one, man, ever, and it's like I'm proud of myself because it's like I've been looking. I got the year that I wanted. I got the year that I wanted. I got the the type I wanted. I wanted either a Caprice or an Impala. Got an Impala, but I wanted a 72 2-door.
Yeah.
So I got it, and then once I got it, it was like, man, and it ran everything. I just put Edelbrock. Yeah, cheers, definitely. I just put an Edelbrock AVS2 carburetor on it because the one that was on there was kind of faulty. It was a Holly, but the choke on it was like broken, so I needed one with an electric choke. So I got the AVS2, put that on there. So it's just little small things I got to do, my PVC valve, I got to get a longer tube. Little things, but I'm learning. I don't, this is my first time doing anything or even ever working on a car. So,
wow.
So it's a journey for me. And man, I've been happy. I'm very excited. I'm going to get this thing up there. And the interior is brand new. So I got brand new interior, just like, new leather and stuff like that in there. I just got to get like a headliner. I'm going to paint it and all that stuff, put rims on it. I'll be ready for the, Sunday rides. By summertime, for sure.
Oh, shit.
Yes. I'm
you got to come to the Cars and Coffee then. We got to do that.
Definitely.
And we got to have that car on the show.
Man, when it's ready, I'll pull it up for sure. It's nice, man. It's definitely like, here, I'll show you what it looks like right now, currently.
Are you gonna paint it?
I'm going to paint it.
Okay.
I am going to paint it. I'm going to paint it probably the color I was looking at was like aquatic green or maybe possibly a baby blue.
Oh, okay. So you want like a teal, light blue kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of, because I want to kind of go for that original, kind of original look, but.
Wow. Is that soft top?
Yeah. No, it's a hard top.
Oh, it's hard top.
Yeah, it's hard top, yeah. It had a vinyl top on it. I don't know if I'm going to put another one back on there. I might just paint it and keep it how it is, but I might do a vinyl top. I don't know.
Damn.
But yeah, it's nice, man. I'm excited, man. 400 small block. It runs real good. Just had to change carburetor. I did that, and now I'm just gonna piece it up. Time by time. Funny thing is, a lot of these old school cars, like the parts, little things like it'll be expensive.
No,
it adds up.
Oh yeah, it adds up. They're everywhere.
They are.
You have a Chevy.
Yeah.
Those parts are everywhere.
Exactly. And that's the main thing. I was like, I wanted to get a Chevy because I felt like the parts and things like that will be easier to find if I did need anything.
Yeah.
And, I'll search in things, all kind of stuff pops up locally too. So I'm like, perfect. I'm like, that's all I needed.
Oh, man, that's awesome. What kind of transmission? Is it like a TH400 or?
I'm not sure. The person who I got it from, he said that whoever had it was cammed. So it barks like, when I have it, like it
goes
it'd be like
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it might be Kim, but it doesn't have any headers or anything. So I'm gonna put headers on there and just my plan is just build from the engine first, then go from the inside, then the outside. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to do it that way because the main thing is like once I get the engine going, it's top tier. I'll ride it how it is, right now, just to get out and. You know what I mean? Like I said, I got brand new interior. My carpet, brand new. I just have to, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to, I got to get some, whatever you call it, the sealer the adhesive spray.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I can spray it and then lay it down, and then you got to kind of roll it and then tuck it up under where it needs to be tucked. And I got some new some new pieces, some seal door pieces.
Oh, you're talking about like for interior pieces and stuff like that?
Well, no, just like my carpet, the interior carpet. So I got new floor. I got new floor because usually they're rusted. It's 52-year-old car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but it has new floor. The flooring is new. And then the carpet is new, but it's not. It's like it's on there laid down, but one part is sprayed down, but just the actual carpet part isn't. So I got to hit it with the adhesive spray, and then kind of I looked it up. You got to like just roll out the little kinks and then tuck, and cut whatever you need.
Yeah. So what I did, because I did that all with mine too. I spent $1,000 for that car off a tweaker. And it was not not painted. There were cats living in there.
$1,000? That's for that car.
Well, because I was thinking like, worst comes to worst, I can sell the rims for that.
Easy.
And but I mean, this was 10 years ago. So like I went through it, and there's a lot of rust. There was, and I had to knock these. I had to cut a bunch of cancer out of the floor pans and just weld new metal on.
Yeah.
Some of the outside too, I had to like cut pieces. And like get new metal, but like how do you just go like buy a little bit of sheet metal? Right?
Exactly, right.
So what I did is I went to Home Depot and I bought like this ducting piece, and it was like galvanized. So I just sanded the galvanized off, cut it to fit, contoured it, welded it up there, and now you can't see it. I mean, it's right on the outside, but you can't see it. Yeah,
because you shaved everything down and smoothed it out. Yeah,
but it's funny when you buy a car from somebody else that's that old, how much it's been through.
For sure.
That hole there that they had bondoed up was full of chicken wire and hay. Hay.
What? That's what they like.
Yeah. They put a lot of hay in there.
It's insane.
And so like, obviously there's no hay in there now.
Exactly.
But you'd be surprised at what you find once you dig into this.
Man, for sure.
You know?
And one thing about my car, like I'm glad, like it's a California car, so it has the original blue California plates on there. Which I wanted to keep those because everybody tells me, it's like, man, that means something when you got those
the
old
blue
school
plate, the yellow
plates.
numbers.
Blue plate with the yellow numbers. But whoever I bought it from, they had got different plates, the original, the regular California plates that we have now. So, but I knew somebody that worked at DMV. They said that in order to get it back to the original ones, you'd have to have like the paperwork they had when they transferred it. So I'm like, I don't think I have that. But I'll probably just pay for the custom plates, the black and yellow.
Yeah.
I'll just do that.
That's what I did.
Yeah, it looks original, so.
I still don't have them.
I heard that takes forever.
Ago.
I heard it takes forever for them to come.
Well, mine, it was a weird thing, right? So, like, they say it would be like 5 to 6 months of a lead time. Once you pick it and you pay your $50, then you pay the registration. That was fine. So then, like a month later, or no, like I would say like probably 4 or 5 months later, they give me this notice that says, we don't have your VIN number. How you don't have my VIN number?
Yeah.
Like what? Who?
You have all the information from the car. How don't you have the VIN number?
Yeah. Why are you? How are you able to contact me?
Exactly.
And so I'm like, you already gave me a registration sticker, and so then I have to go back there, re-show them the thing, and now it's like I have to re-go again and pay my $50 again.
Oh, God.
Because they let me know just at the time where it lapsed. So now my name could be taken. But I wanted to get the black and yellow because it matches the car. You got to get the black and yellow.
Yeah, I feel like that's the closest thing to the old school look.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go with the custom because I go by Lord Zuke, so I'm going Lord Zuke on the license plate.
Well, getting a black and yellow license plate versus customizing it, there's no difference in price.
Yeah, for sure.
So you might as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I looked at. I'm like, it's $50 regardless. So, I just pay that, get the black and yellow, I'll be fine. Yeah, so it's going to work out cool. Yeah, I'm definitely excited, man. I'm going to, I'm going to put the big rims on there, the music, probably 4 15-inch subwoofers in there, I'm just, I'm going to do all this stuff, man. But it's going to be cool because, and my wife, she doesn't fully understand. She's just like, I got it, and then, like, as soon as I got it, like, I got the carburetor. She's like, well, I thought it was going to be a project car. I'm like, that's what a project is. You buy things little by little.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just bought a carburetor for the love of God. I was like, that's it. I'm like, yeah, it was $500, but I'm like, that's all I got. I'm like, I didn't get anything. I'm not going in.
Wait, you bought it for $500? Oh, you bought the carburetor for $500?
Yeah.
Okay, not the car. Okay.
No. So I got the car for $8,000. Which was outstanding. I feel like
still a good deal for this.
The condition
that was actually looking like it's clean too.
Yeah, it's clean. Like I said, it drives like I could ride it now. I just want to get everything. My seats aren't bolted in, and like I'm getting the new interior. He put new interior on there, but it wasn't it was on, but it wasn't like tucked and tight, and I need to get it sewed to where it's tight. And so I just sent it to this girl. She's doing that for me now. And then once I'm gonna do my probably today or tomorrow, I'm gonna do my carpet. And, cut out my holes where the seats are gonna be bolted at. And then so once my seats come back, I'll put my seats on. Then I'm gonna just start working on my engine. Get my little headers and small stuff like that. And like I've never been car savvy, but I put the carburetor on myself. I was watching, videos, and I feel like it's good learning those type of things. I'm like, so I know in the long run, something happens, I did this, I can know what to tweak or what to do. You know what I mean? Like, if something ever happens. So it's just like, it's a good thing, man.
With those old, motors, you really want to run them every week.
Yeah.
At least start it, drive it around the block every week. Mm-hmm. Like for me, I pick my daughter up every Wednesday from school in the Camaro.
Okay.
And so that's like my start it and drive it every week.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it kills the car. Mm-hmm. Worse than if you just every day you're romping on it. Mm-hmm. It's better for the car to every day haul ass in that thing.
Yeah.
Than to let it sit in the garage.
Yeah. Because then you're just letting all the liquids and everything in there is just kind of just coagulating and just, kind of tightening up, and it's not going to run as good once if you're just letting it sit. So that makes a lot of sense.
And when you start running it regularly or like starting it regularly, you want to add some Marvel Mystery Oil to the oil.
Okay.
That's my grandpa like swore by that, and I put that in here, and it's like it runs a lot better. It runs like it should, and also a zinc additive.
Zinc additive. Okay.
Yeah. These older carbureted cars, they're a little different.
It is. It's much different. Like every time I do something, like I put the carburetor on, I don't even have it like where I'm at. It's like I had a Holly on there, so my what is that, accelerator cable?
Oh yeah, accelerator pump.
Yeah, the accelerator pump. The cable, like I need to attach it, but it's weird. Like I have something to attach it to, and then the spring that I have. It was on a Holly, and it was in the back. But every time I look it up, like their springs are back here, or towards the front. And I don't really have anywhere to hook it up to. So I might have to buy like some type of bracket to where I can do that. But, like I said, it's all small stuff. And then once I get the carburetor on, I'm going to take it to the shop. And then, because I'm not mechanically inclined like that. I'm telling them like, hey, I need this. Or you guys let me know. Be like, I want a full tune-up, Just, once after that, if things are going wrong, let me know. You know what I mean? But like, I want to get headers. I want to get this. And, I'm not going to do too much as far as the engine because I'm not a big, like, speedy guy. Like, I don't have to be.
Well, that's not what the car is for.
Yeah. It's
a cruising car.
Yeah, it's a cruising car.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do. I just want to cruise and just, I just want it to run solid and, comfortably and dependable every time I get in, and then I don't want to be cutting off and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna do all of that little stuff, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's like every time, like it's crazy because I wake up thinking about the car. Like I wake up, I'll be like, oh man, I should probably get this or to do this, and it's like it's a good feeling because like this is my first old school. I got the house, I got the boat. I just didn't have the old school. I was like, so I was like, I got the kit complete now. So now I got to just, follow through and just make sure everything is good, man. Cause like I look forward to those little like Sunday rides and stuff like that.
And those cars are, it's not, I feel bad just calling it a car because it's not really a car. Mm-hmm. It's a mode of transportation, but it's also art.
Exactly.
And because there's a certain amount of like you can customize those in such a way that it doesn't affect. You don't have to go and get an inspection. You don't have to get this signed off.
Exactly.
It's a little bit about. It's a little art. It's a little mechanics, and it's a little bit animal. Mm-hmm. Because a car and a motor, a transmission, everything being together for that long, and maybe it kind of takes on its own personality.
Yeah.
And it kind of, once you drive it around, you realize like, oh, it doesn't like to do that. Mm-hmm. Or like, oh, when I slow down, this kind of, so maybe it's the power steering pump that I need to replace because it's making that sound. Or like, it's little things, like, oh, it really likes between 3,000 and 5,000 RPMs. It really howls then, like, and your cam will also, that's the brain of the motor. Mm-hmm. So that's going to make it make it perform a different way too.
Definitely.
And it's just nobody has it exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the thing is like everybody's got a Kia Rio or a Honda Pilot that looks like this or whatever, and that one is the only one like that.
Exactly.
You know,
and no matter what you do to them, they still hold their value.
Yeah,
that's one of the best things. It's like you could do your little personal modification that you want, but it's not gonna, like, you do that to another car, it's gonna depreciate it just a little bit. Mm-hmm. As soon as you get off the lot, you get these new cars, you pull off the lot, you're down $20,000.
Yeah,
just
you're like,
immediately.
Yeah,
you know
just
what I mean?
did it. Or even if it's a cheap car is like $8,000.
Yeah,
goodbye.
Yeah, just shit it out. You know what I mean?
It's a used car now.
Exactly. Yeah, now you got a used car, and it's like, I haven't even drove 100 miles. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, how the fuck? So, yeah, so it's crazy. But, like, that's what I like that it holds its value. And then, like, people, so, it's like a community. Just like when I got a boat, I noticed it's like, I got a 97 Bayliner. It's in really good condition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in really, like.
That's a cruiser.
Yeah, it's a cruiser. Yeah. I got an open bow, so, you know what I mean? Like, it's in really good condition. I got it from a guy who, like, had it from 97, first owner. Like, so everything's good in it. And then, like, I started taking it, like, once I owned it, I was taking it out, and I'm seeing all these guys with these new boats, and they're tight, and I'm like, damn, man, I got to upgrade.
And they got the towers with the speakers on them.
And this older guy, he came up to me, he said, man, like, I'll never forget this. He's like, man, that's a really nice boat you got. He's like, man, he said, don't ever get a mistake. And he's like, all these people out here with these nice-ass boats, he's like, they're in debt $300,000.
Yes.
He's like, you own that boat.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, and that's what really meant. He's like, you own that boat, and it's a nice boat, and it's dependable, and it works for you. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, and it made me feel good. So now when I come around these dudes with all these tight boats, I feel the same as them because it's like, yeah, you feel good, but I own mine, so I feel just as good as you because I don't have all of the debt and everything I have to worry about. Anything I do to this, I could do on my own. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about nothing. So that gave me a different outlook about having it. And then, like, when you have a boat, you notice, like, it's like a community. People I thought
people
I thought didn't wave at me was waving at me, and they were like, and I'm like, hey man, how you doing? What's going on? And like it's like a community. Like everybody wants to talk to you, and I like that type of stuff because I'm a talkative, people person.
You don't say.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, so when that happened, I'm like, man, this is cool. So like when I got this old school, I was like, man, it's kind of like the same thing. I was like, can't wait to get in the community. Like, everybody, when they see you got something that you built, and that's my thing. It's like, I get to say that this is going to be built, not bought. I didn't buy it already put together. Everything's going to happen. I did it myself. So that's like a kind of like accomplishment for me.
It's a different level.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and it's not to knock because some people are enthusiasts. They love boats. They love cars, but they just don't have that mechanical ability.
Exactly.
They just weren't raised that or they didn't have any need to get it. And so like there's nothing against that, but it adds a different level when you've built it yourself.
Definitely.
And also a little level of fear.
And it's a confidence level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it builds your confidence, and then knowing that, it's like buying something already built from someone else, it's like, oh yeah, that's nice, that's cool, but everything. But then when you can get into the conversation like, oh yeah, I had to switch this, and when people see the trial and error that you went through, building your car, that's what makes it more valuable, I think, to other people. They're like, you went through what I went through. I mean, like, man, I'm 50,000 in on my old school. You know what I mean? Like I went through the same thing. Like so, like they can understand. So I feel like that's like a different feeling and a better feeling.
Yeah, or they can give you little tips like, hey, use some Marvel Mystery Oil.
Exactly. And
or
listen,
zinc.
I'm not gonna listen. Though I soaked those in. As soon as you said that, I soaked those into my little memory brains because I was like, I'm using all that stuff. And that's the thing. Like now that I have this, like I'm kind of weary. I don't want any young kids work. Like if I don't want any kids work. I want somebody that grew up with these cars, like, working on it to be like, oh, my daddy had one of these. I was working on these in the garage for like 12 years back in the, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's the guy that I want working on it that knows, you know what I mean? Because a lot of these new kids, it's like, you guys are learning from computers. My car doesn't have a computer.
Well, that's the thing. That's how I learned.
Yeah.
Is computers. For all my last cars, I was able to plug my laptop in and pull some timing, run the nitrous, and just like program a tune and boom.
Yeah.
And then if I go to Smog it, program a different tune and boom.
Exactly.
But it's like I'm coming into it. For me, this is my first carbureted car. Like
Okay.
I grew up around carbureted boats and stuff.
Okay.
So we used to, and my grandpa used to have a plane. So we used to go to the airport and fill everything up because everything was carbureted. So we'd run aviation gas and everything, which is 100 octane, and it's leaded.
Okay.
So the lead helps the car run better, helps it run cooler. But carbureted motors, it's better all around for it. It's bad for people's IQs because you can't be breathing that lead.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not good. Like I like going fast and I appreciate cars and stuff, but that lead is not good for you.
For sure.
You know?
It's definitely toxic.
But you know, like we used to go and like fill that shit up with everything. Fill the jet skis up, fill the boats up with it, fill like a classic car up with it. But now you can't get in there and fill it up. So you got to put the zinc additive in there and you get the highest octane you can. But that's another thing. Well, if you leave them, that film comes up on your carburetor and it just sits there. And it makes it so that it's hard to start again. So that you need to spray starter fluid in that thing every time. And I mean,
what's your suggestion on, because it's funny that you say that because I remember you did something and I thought about you when I was putting my carburetor on. So do I need to spray that stuff in there before I start it? Because I haven't started since I put the new carburetor on yet. But I looked up something saying that you might need to put gas into like, because I have a 4-barrel carburetor, like you have to kind of put a little bit of gas in those for holes. I'm not sure how that goes though. Or can you just spray that spray that's in there that you can get to kind of like kick it up? So
you really got to be careful when you're pouring gas in there, because I did that actually, and it is a way to do it, and it is actually it's a way to start the car if you aren't sure, if you have your fuel tank unhooked, you can still see if the motor runs by pouring gas in top of the carburetor, very slowly. But of course, it is a good way to catch fire, which I've done. I burned all the hair off my arm and singed the brow. But it is like if you just slowly do it, you know, like just like a trickle, just shh, and don't keep pouring it in there. But like then you can start it. It'll run for maybe a couple seconds. You can see if you have any like ticks or anything.
Okay.
But you're really gonna want to put that in like the gas tank and run it through the lines and stuff. And even before you do that,
they say you can do like once you start starting it, it'll flow through there.
Yeah.
Like. You just have to give it a couple pumps and, you know, do like that. So I was like, as long as I can do that, that's fine. It's like putting gas, like that makes me nervous, to be honest. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I don't know if I'm qualified for this, but I might try it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a scary thing for me. But yeah, I like being comfortable. So I'm probably going to just like, I ain't going to put nothing in there. I'll probably just. You
could just give it a spray of like the starter fluid or, you know, straight ethanol or whatever. Just give it a couple sprays in there. Let it sit. Or, no, what I do is I give it a couple sprays. I bump it. And then, because it usually doesn't want to start at the first one, or it starts and just, because it burns off all the shit. You want it to drip down and get all that stuff in the middle and in the bottom and stuff so that it kind of doesn't just all ignite at once.
Yeah, you want to give it some leeway to where when it ignites, it still has something to breathe on. You know, once it's down there.
And once it ignites, then it starts turning the fuel pump because everything's turning and it's pumping gas in there, and it'll run on its own.
Okay.
If it's full, right? But you know, there's all kinds of different little variables. You know, because I also rewired the car and did all new gauges.
Okay.
And so like now my car is full, but it says it has a half tank. You know, so I gotta like figure that kind of stuff out.
Yeah. That's like the little ball in your tank.
The little sending unit.
The little
It's this little arm with a float, and it's like just pointed the wrong way. I think it's hitting something.
Exactly, to where it's showing. So,
but
and that's small stuff, like, you know what I mean. But if you don't have the knowledge of not, you know, knowing like, why is my gas tank? You know what I mean.
Yeah.
You don't even know, like, but you know, so that's just like little small common knowledge stuff. You know what I mean. You'll
start to get like a picture in your head of how it's working and what's happening to make like that sound or make that problem. You get that little picture in your head, you know, and it's something that's only going to come from working on things.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like that's how I started, is because when I was 16, I got my grandma's 93 Ford Tempo, if you know what one of those is.
Yeah.
And
the Tempo, man, that's a classic.
It had like 30 or 40,000 miles when I got it, right? And this is in 2004. This is a 93 car.
Okay.
So that 11 years, she only put like 30,000 on it. And
she went nowhere.
Yeah. And so it always kind of smelled like burning plastic. Whatever. But, you know, I kept breaking things in there, and I would take it to this shop, and they kept screwing me, right? Like, I'd pay $800, and they give it to me back, and like a week later, the same thing would happen.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, I just need to like work on this myself.
Yeah.
And I tried to work on the transmission myself there, and I was like, I hate this. I fucking hate this thing.
What is my life boiling down to?
It's front wheel drive. I hate this. So I'm gonna get like, if I'm gonna work on a car, I'm gonna get something I want. So I did a bunch of research. It's like, oh well, I really like the Mitsubishi 3000 GTs.
Okay.
And the Eclipses and the Dodge Stealths and stuff. But then looking at those, it's like you look in there, and it's like, holy shit, you can't even work on that.
Yeah, so it's no room to work.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, what's up with the American cars? So Mustang, Camaro, I always hear about Mustangs.
That's Camaro, right?
Yeah.
What year is it?
74.
74?
Yeah. So it's 75 is the last year that you can have where you don't have to smog it.
Okay.
So 76, you're smogging them. You know? But like that's another reason is because I learned my lesson with all my like 99 Camaros or 2000 Camaros. It's like you had to eventually take it in to get it smogged, and so you had to take a bunch of parts off.
Yeah.
And then put them back on, and that's all a pain in the ass. And there's really nothing worse than taking a car that has like 500 horsepower and making it back into 300.
God, that
you know,
that's such a that's a made the quantum leap backwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
And why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Because you don't live in Texas. You know?
God. And then like you say, and then you have to put it back on. So it's like the labor taking it off, the labor putting it back on, then having to pay just for the smog for you guys, you know, to clear me. And it's just like, oh man, it's like a everlasting pool.
And you're paying for new gaskets every time you take something off or put it back on.
Exactly.
You know, and it was just not worth it for me. So I got that one. It's old and it has old technology, but I have that motor there that's new technology with a computer and everything.
What's in there? 350?
It's a 350 in there now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a 6-liter out of a 2004 Silverado. So it'll be like
with that. Were you rebuilding it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Rebuilding that. I have the transmission out there strapped to an office chair. Okay. But that'll be turboed. This will be a V8 turbo.
Okay.
The goal is a 10-second car for $10,000 budget. So we'll see.
Not bad.
We'll see.
Turbo. So you know, it's funny you say that turbo. I was looking. I have a 400 small block. I looked up because I don't want a supercharger because I don't want to cut the hood and have to. Because everybody says if you get a supercharger, like it's poking out of the hood.
Not necessarily. There's 3 different kinds of superchargers.
Okay.
So there's a roots type, I think is what you're talking about, and a twin screw, which those go on top of the motor and have like, you would have to cut it. But there's also another one, it's called a centrifugal supercharger, and it looks like a turbo, but it's belt driven.
Okay.
So it looks like a turbo, but it acts like a supercharger. So it's just basically a belt driven turbo.
Okay.
And that's something you might want to look into if you don't want to cut the hood.
Yeah, I don't want to cut the hood because I did. And, you know, like I said, I'm not like big on being fast, but I feel like, you know, supercharger, I wouldn't mind, you know, hitting the gas, you know from a stoplight or something. You know what I mean?
That, woo!
Yeah, you know what I mean? Just pull off. You know, I wouldn't mind that from time to time. So I definitely was thinking about, but that was what was discouraging me from it because I was like, I don't want to cut my hood. And, you know, I don't want the like Vin Diesel piece hanging out of the, you know, front of the hood and stuff. I was
that is sick. Unless you have to drive it with that.
Exactly.
It's cool to look at and cool to like.
Yeah. That's like good for racing. Like when you're racing, you're doing a quarter mile and you're just beating people for $4,000 every time. You know what I mean? That's like perfect. But it's like, I wouldn't want to drive it with that like that. You know what I mean? So I was like, I want my hood regular. You know what I mean?
Or you could, I mean, just because those hoods are so big and there's so much metal, they're so heavy, right?
They are.
So you might, I mean, because what I did was I had a metal hood and it was like 120-pound hood, you know, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be an insane project to, even after I painted everything, to get it centered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I bought a fiberglass hood. Right, so it's not carbon fiber, but it's fiberglass, so it's 40 pounds instead of 120. So it's like a lot more easier to manage, and it has the little the little scoop, not a scoop, but like the little cowl induction thing, so you can have that room if you need to.
Just a little, just the little nostrils in the front, to where you got a little bit of room.
Right, but it'll help with handling, just replacing that hood because they're on those. They're boats, man.
Yeah, I mean,
these old cars are
metal.
boats.
You know what I mean? It's complete metal car. They're so heavy. People don't understand. It's like your engine's working alone just off of how heavy your car is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just like the main thing. Your engine's probably going to run hot just because your car's heavy as shit. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I mean, a 400.
It's a small block.
Yeah, it's still a small block.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to run hot. 350s run hot.
Mm-hmm.
327s don't because they have a pretty good cylinder wall and everything.
Yeah.
But like Chevys usually just run hot, and even the newer ones, they run hot too.
Yeah,
and it's like it's just how they are.
That's what my boy told me. He's like the only thing I would suggest. He's like, just take it, get your radiator flush, and get a thermostat. You know what I'm saying? And just see if you might need another fan. You know what I mean? And he's like, once you do that, he's like, it starts running hot, that fan will kick on for you, you know what I mean, and keep you where you need to be. But he's like, other than that, he's like, those engines were kind of meant to run hot. That's just, that's the rarity of them. They run hot. They're good performing engines. They just run a little hot. You know what I mean? So you just got to know how to take care of it. So I was like, yeah.
I mean, it's God, man, I'm excited for you.
Man, listen, don't be excited. Don't get nervous if I call you. Start asking for some tips. You know what I'm saying?
By all means.
You know,
I hope you do.
I might need some tips now.
I mean,
Because I mean, man, it's just I'm still learning, and like just like I just learned what a cam was and headers and all that stuff. I'm still learning all that stuff because I never knew. I've never been mechanically inclined, but I've been on Summit daily. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just like I live on Summit now that I have this car.
Oh, they love getting your money.
Oh God. And it's like I look at the stuff, I'd be like I looked up something on Summit, seat belts, it's like $250 for the seat belts. Now mind you, I have the seat belts that I have in there, they're in there, but they just look old and kind of dirty. So I'm gonna see if maybe I could wash them and like kind of get them back to normal a little bit, or I could just probably dye them, just dye them.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, just dye them to where they bring them back a little bit and they look new. Because I'll just dye them probably like a tan color because, my interior is like, look, I'll show you my interior. The interior is, it's like almost a peanut butter, I guess you would say.
You could soak it in Dawn. And that's usually pretty good. Oh, yeah.
The interior was brand new. He rewrapped everything, so. I just got small things to do.
You got that cappuccino interior.
Yeah, man. That cappuccino, I like that too. That's what makes me, I wanted to go I've never really seen like a baby. I feel like baby blue is an old school color.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like as far as classic cars. But I've never really seen like a baby blue with kind of like that tan, cappuccino interior. I feel like that might be like a good little mix. And then I wanted to go like rose gold rims.
Okay.
God,
rose gold rims. So everything's going to be tan. Outside's tan? Rose gold rims?
No, well, like...
Oh, so you want baby blue outside?
Either baby blue or like a greenish color. And then, but I'm like, if I do the baby blue, I'm definitely going to do like, rose gold. And then, like in the front, my little silver pieces on the lights, I'm going to dip those rose gold. And then my side mirrors, my mirrors, I'm going to probably dip those rose gold.
Oh, so you're turning chrome into the rose gold?
Yes. But I'm going to keep my bumper chrome. I'm going to keep my bumper, front and rear bumper. I'm going to keep those chrome. But I'm going to probably just do small accents rose gold, like my door handles. And then my mirrors. And then just the little silver plates on my lights. I'm going to keep those rose gold.
That'll be interesting.
Right? Just like kind of I want everything to kind of like go together.
You make it yours,
Exactly.
That's the thing. It's like you buy a car from somebody, and it's just, it's really weird if somebody buys a car from somebody and just starts driving it around.
Yeah. That I've always thought that myself. It doesn't sit right. Because it's like, you didn't do anything. It's like, everybody knows, like, people are going to think you're someone else almost at that point. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not almost a good look. You have to do something. I would almost wrap it even if you need to. You know what I mean?
True.
You know what I mean? Wrap it and change the color. That can, that'll give you a different dynamic at least. You know what I mean? But like, don't just go straight from somebody else's stuff to keep driving.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, right? And I don't know what what a good analogy is to say that. Like, I guess wearing somebody else's skin, but that's not quite what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's similar, but different. Yeah. I see where you're coming from with that one.
Because how'd you get that skin off?
Yeah.
But
like, are you riding him? That's my friend's skin. Where'd you get that from?
Yeah. Yeah, but
that is funny.
Man.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, man, it's like, and you said you had yours for 10 years and see, man, that I've had people tell me, it's like, man, he's like, I put 15,000 in my car and it looks like nothing.
Oh, no, it was, no, not near that.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm like, what? I'm like, well, what did you do? He's like, but a lot of them though, I think like they're the ones that like want to do an LS swap.
Right. Well, that's what that is. Yeah.
That right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
LS is like it's that generation, right? That's technically an LS motor, but it's not an LS1 or an LS6. It's an LQ4.
Okay.
So it's something that came in the trucks. Okay. It's designed the exact same way, and all the parts will work for it. Mm-hmm. But the difference is that the block is made of iron instead of aluminum, so it can take a lot more punishment, a lot more boost.
Okay. So I didn't know that. So iron as opposed to aluminum. The aluminum takes a better beating?
Aluminum has a lower melting point than iron. And that's the thing, because the boost will make it really hot, or make it not hot, but a lot of pressure will be built up in those cylinder walls.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about like blowing a cylinder wall because you have too much boost, you're running a lot of boost anyway. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, and also because these pistons are dished, instead of flat top or domed. Mm-hmm. So the dished pistons will provide a low compression engine, and that will make it so you could run more boost.
Okay.
So it's weird, but like you might have like a regular flat top might make the 300 horsepower, right? Mm-hmm. Since that's dished, it might make 270 horsepower instead.
Okay.
But it's lower compression. So whereas you may only be able to boost that 300 horsepower to like 14 psi, which is basically an atmosphere of pressure. So you could get, in theory, double the power. So you get that to 600 horsepower.
Okay.
Whereas this, you could run it on maybe 20 psi. So you can get it to like, I don't know. There's lots of math in there.
Yeah, I know.
We have to ask one of the Chinese kids on TikTok to do that for us.
I know.
But like you can run that much. You get a higher multiplier.
Definitely.
Then is what it is. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where boost comes in. But now people have gotten around that to where they could run E85 in that. Just a way higher octane gas to run, so that it doesn't hurt the motor and doesn't like ping it or whatever.
It's funny. The carburetor I just bought, it had a tag on it that says if you use E85 gas, it doesn't insure the what is it, like the warranty? Yeah, it was like it won't insure the warranty if you're using E85 gas. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. I was like, well, what the fuck? What's wrong with the E85? I was like, is it a lower burning fuel?
It's higher.
It's a higher burning fuel. Okay.
So it burns faster. And it burns better.
Okay.
You get higher octane out of the E85. Mm-hmm. Your car's got to be tuned to get it. Okay. Number one, but it also doesn't last as long as regular gas. So your gas mileage is going to go down because that stuff wears up. That stuff burns quick.
Yeah, it burns quicker, so your gas mileage goes down on that aspect.
You get more power.
Yeah.
If you are tuned for it.
Yeah.
I would just fill up with the 91 that's at the thing and put an additive, put a zinc additive in there every other full tank that you get.
Okay.
And every oil change, do a little bit of Marvel Mist Oil in there. Mm-hmm. But
I put 91 in it now. I was like, once I got it, I was like, I'm going to put 91 in this old school, because I was like, I feel like anything else, like, I mean, my mom always told me, she was like, because I told her, I was like, I got a car. I was like, I got this Lexus, Mom. I was like, say it take 91 gas, but I've been putting, 89 in it, or the 87. She's like, all I'm going to tell you is this. She's like, your car's going to run.
Yeah.
but how long is it gonna run?
Right.
She's like, you're every time you do that, you're kind of just diminishing your life a little bit more every time.
Yeah.
And then, that made me think, I'm like, you know what, you're right. I was like, so let me just, whether it says 91 or not, I'm gonna put the best in there just because I want the best performance, from, anything. If I'm in it, I wanted to be reliable, so I wanted to perform the best. You know what I mean? So that's why I've been 91 since then.
Yeah, I mean, and it also really depends on where you get it from, right? Like, if you want to go to like a Shell or a Chevron, one of those guys, or like if you could find it, a Sunoco station. Those guys, that's the best gas. These regular, like, I'm not gonna say like AM PMs all suck or whatever, but like.
It's watered down, I feel like.
It might be watered down. Yeah. It might be that it's a little dirty and everything like that.
It doesn't give. I feel like the AMPMs, like the cheaper gases, they don't give you the best performance. You don't get the best performance out of your car. You don't get the best gas mileage. Like I feel like it's just kind of like it's a cheaper downer grade gas as far as you get the Chevron with the Techron, or the Shell with they have their little technology that they put in the gas as well. So
yeah, and actually like Safeway and Costco gas is the same thing. Exactly. So Chevron is the Safeway gas and Costco has Shell gas. And it's just there's just no Shell or Chevron.
I tried to tell my wife that. I was like, you keep going. She's like, oh, the Safeway gas. I was like, you can go to Shell. I was like, it's the same gas. I was like, so you can go to Shell, you go to Safeway, it doesn't matter. I was like, they're giving you both the same gas. And she didn't believe it though, women, they got to do their own research.
Bless their hearts.
Yeah, bless their hearts. The love of God. Can't live with them, can't live without them.
She like cruising around in it though.
What? Come on, she's going to love it.
When I finished mine, even like just when I was testing it around and like I was able to finally drive it around and had a seat bolted in and everything. And my wife was like, can I drive it around? I was like, I would love it if you did.
Love it. Listen, thank you, God. You that's music to my ears, baby. You can definitely drive the car. Yeah, and that's when I tell her, I'm like, baby, because she always be like, we get older. It's like, not many things for us to do, out in the world. I said, this is going to open up avenues, the weekends. We could just get in the car and drive. We don't even have to have a destination. I said, that's the best thing about having an old school. We don't have to have a destination. We can get in the car, drive, gas up, and just, have a good time. Yep. And if there's AC in the car.
Oh, there is?
There is AC in that car. I didn't know. I was like, I looked at it, it said AC and heat. I'm like, okay. Wow. Because I thought that the Caprices were more so like the luxury version of those years, because it's pretty much the same car, the Caprice and the Impala.
Yeah, well, those they just use for cops a lot too.
Exactly, they were like cop cars. Yeah. So like the Caprice, they were the ones with like power windows, and the 72 Caprice has like power windows. So that was like the luxury thing, and then the Impalas were the like, I guess, the lower version with the manual windows and stuff. But like all that stuff, I don't really care about. Manual windows. I want manual windows if I got an old school car.
Well, that's the thing is like I had replaced so many window motors that I was just like, I don't want to deal with that ever again. Because it trace it down. It's like, you really got to crank that thing. And sometimes you think you're going to break it off, but come on.
Yeah, come on. I mean, that's that you got to think that's how it was done. You got to, nothing like riding and hitting that little crank, what I mean, to get that window down while you're driving. Because you got to do it, you have to do it strategically. You're driving, you got to, you got to.
Oh, I got to roll the windows down before I even start moving.
Oh yeah, see,
before I even go,
you got the right idea. Definitely.
And then when I pull up at the school, I gotta because I gotta park it and get out. So I gotta roll these things up so kids don't reach in and steal my disco ball.
Exactly.
For
real.
Can't be taking my disco ball.
Because these kids, they'll get in there and get anything if they could these days. For sure.
I know, for no reason.
For nothing. It's it holds no value to them, but they feel like it's like a score on their card that they can do that. Yeah. But it's like, no, you're blocking your blessings at that point by doing that. You know what I mean? You guys don't even understand.
Yeah, I mean, I was young and did stupid shit. Like I remember me and my friend, we saw this hotel and we just put all the pool furniture in the pool. And like, it's fun. Exactly. I mean, it didn't ruin anything. Someone's got to go in there and get it.
And that's the thing. Like, I feel like in our generation, the things we did were more so harmless of us being just kids being kids. Now, like kids being kids these days, you guys want to vandalize shit, like shit that's like non-replaceable that people have to put money back into. Like you putting them things, all they had to do was take that pool furniture out, set it out in the sun, and you guys are good for the next day. You know what I mean? So it's like, what wrong did you guys actually do? That's just kids being kids.
Right.
But nowadays, you guys are tagging on buildings, just like, just doing nonsense stuff. So it's just like, the magnitude of fun and what's fun is different these days from like our generation. And then, they got internet and phones. We didn't have all that. We had to
I know.
travel, even if talking to a girl or anything, you had to ride your bike 10 blocks to talk to the girl. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like that doesn't happen anymore. Now everybody has like direct access to anything that they want. So it's like, it's easier. So, we didn't have, I'm glad that we grew up in the days that we did to where we had to, kind of put in the footwork.
Right.
To become who we are. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like that kind of shortens out, your lifespan because kids need to be kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when's the last time you seen like 10 kids all riding their bike to the store? You know what I mean? Just like, you don't even see that anymore. It's like, I remember when we was growing up, we had to go to the store. It was 10 of us. All we were all going to the store, and everybody had $3, so we're all getting the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's this stuff like that.
We're all going to Jack in the Box with $1. Tacos for all.
Everybody getting 2 tacos, and you better have 107 because I don't have a tax for you. I'll have $1.10, so I don't have the extras for you. Yeah. I remember those days, man. It was good.
I mean, I grew up. So I was a kid. Like I grew up in Richmond, El Cerrito, like East Bay area.
Yeah. I'm from Hayward, so
okay. Yeah, so East Bay.
Yeah, East Bay.
But so and even then it was like I would go down to the park and play with my friend, and like my mom wouldn't be there, and his mom wouldn't be there, and like my mom would drop me off, but I can't imagine doing that now. And I have girls. That's probably one thing about it that I can't imagine. But I can't imagine doing that today with all the stuff and all the human trafficking that you hear about in Sacramento because it's perfectly located to all these different highways.
Exactly.
You hop on the freeway and you'll never see them again. That kind of thing. It's just like, man. Do I just place a tracker on them?
Yeah, right. I hit him with an air tag in the backpack or what?
It sucks because I want them to have that freedom, but really there's no other kids that come out anyway.
Yeah.
And all the playtime has got to be scheduled, and it's got to be like the parents' ball. They all come over here, and it's not the same.
What happened to the kids knocking on your door to see if your kids were inside so they can come out and play? Like, I feel like kids don't even knock on other people's doors anymore. Like, it's almost like it's programmed like, oh, don't be knocking on other people's doors. Like, it's like, Mom, those are my friends over there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to see if they can come out and play. That's usually what we do. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get knocks from my neighbors over here because they've had a broken ice machine for I think a year, and they come over and get ice for their cocktails.
Yeah,
good. They come in they have kids here, and it's they're older, like teenagers, but he'll come knock on my door like, hey. Can I use your compressor to fill up my tire? Man, every time. But yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course you can. But
sure.
Man, you got to get a new tire.
Yeah. Have you considered getting a new tire?
More than happy to help, though.
Yeah.
I love that. Ask a neighbor.
Yeah.
That's what you should be doing.
Exactly. That's common knowledge. Like, that's what you should be doing. And, that's another thing, too. People, I feel like, are, looking upon on their neighbors, you should want to befriend your neighbors. That person may be looking after your house while you're gone.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? These are the people that can look after you when you're not able to do so. You know what I mean? So it's you have to open your mind and you have to understand that, quit blocking all your blessings. It's just look, man, these your neighbors. Because I used to have the attitude to be like, oh,
quit blocking your blessings.
Yeah, quit blocking your blessings.
That's the truth, isn't it?
I'm telling you. Damn. That's as true as it gets because, I used to have that attitude. I was young, oh, this is my neighbor. I ain't going to say nothing to him. These guys don't,
I'm just going to be quiet and hard.
Yeah, I'm just going to be quiet and hard. Exactly. It's not knowing but then once I noticed that I started speaking to people that how much we can benefit off each other and how much alike that we are. It's oh, well, shit. should have been talking to you. You know what I mean? It's like, where the fuck have we been all this time? Like, we should have been hanging out. You know what I mean?
Well, that's I think that the biggest lesson that we should have learned from COVID.
Yeah.
Is that you can trust, you need to rely on your neighbors. You need to be able to also sustain yourself as much as you can, but your neighbors can help too. Like, you guys can all help each other. And this, like, it doesn't have to be some kind of closed off where you're just in this house.
Exactly.
You know?
It's supposed to be like, if you see that your neighbors are maybe lacking in the area, you know, it's kind of your job to inform them. You know what I mean? Let them know. Like, if we're friends and anything of that nature, oh, man, let me, you know, I see slackness here. Let me tell you, show you what I did. I did it like this. You know what I'm saying? So you can do the same things. Like, and that's just like you said, COVID, it kind of brought a lot of people to be like, because I feel like at first it was bad because people were thinking like, oh, shit, it's every man for himself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people weren't prepared in, any type of crisis. But then when people started to get a little woke and they're like, okay, well, this isn't that bad, but we can manage, but we have to do it together. You know what I mean? So if we can do it together, then, I mean, shit, and what really matters? You know what I mean? So then once that started happening, people were like, and then you probably were talking to people that you didn't, normally talk to, early on in life. And now you're like, oh, well, this person, why the fuck wasn't I talking to him all this time? They've got all these resources, and I've got resources that he can use. It's like, we should have been doing this, you know what I mean? So it gave him the outlet.
Well, that's one of the reasons that we even got this house, why we moved here, is because, like, we looked at the house, okay, it's a house. There's bedrooms and there's bathrooms and what have you. Everyone's going to have that. There's a kitchen where you can cook food. There's a backyard, whatever. But, like, we met the neighbors, and, like, who am I going to be living next to? Is it going to be some crazy dude that's got cameras pointed at me? That's going to be like, don't blah, blah, blah.
Get your dog out of my yard.
With a barking ass dog or some shit like that, And it's like, no, that's not that. Like, we met them, and it's like, this seems like a decent enough neighborhood to move into. Like, people just go and they look at the house. Oh, this is a beautiful house, and they live there for a week or whatever, or they're moving stuff in, and all of a sudden somebody comes over and is like, how long is this U-Haul going to be here for? Or some shit like that. Yeah. And then you're like, oh man, I made a big mistake. Yeah. I made a $500,000 mistake.
Yeah, it's like I'm 600,000 in and I got 30 years in here. It's like, what did I do? You know what I mean? Yeah. Now I just got to pray that this guy either, God forbid, dies or just, you know what I mean? Or just moves on my behalf.
I hope he dies or moves. Yeah.
It's like, and that's a horrible thing to have to think. You know what I mean? It's like, God damn. But you know what I mean? And that's essential. Like, but I think you did it right. Like, I feel like, you found this house, spoke to them, and it's like, you know what? This is cool. You know what I mean? I feel comfortable with these people but I feel like that's part of making it comfortable. Because I feel like somebody new moving into a area. You came and knocked on my door. It was like, hey man, I'm new and I was moving here. I just wanted to come. Now I want to befriend you because I'm like, you were raised right. You have the right idea. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, these are the kind of people that I want to be around. And, when you get older, you'd be like, I just want comfortable instability. You know what I mean? It's like, I have kids. I got grandkids right now. You know what I mean? So it's like.
Grandkids.
Yeah. Oh, man. You know what? My son, I got one. My son, we just found out he got one on the way. We just did a gender reveal 3 days ago. Yeah, he's about to have a girl. So I'm like, I got a grandson and I'm about to have a granddaughter. Oh. So I'm set, you know what I mean? So it's like I've got my mode set. So it's like now it's like I'm doing things like I'm telling them, it's like, look, I want to take my grandson fishing. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want to, I want to instill these things in them. I just want them to know that you don't have to worry. If you need something, I got you. Or your parents got you. You know what I mean? And if they don't got you, I got you. And you'll never know that they don't have you because I'll have them. You know what I mean? So it's like that type of thing. And it's like, that's like a good feeling. And it's crazy. Like I'm only 40, but life is lifing. Yeah. And, you know what I mean? And
it's known to do that.
It's known to do that. Exactly. But it's a good feeling. And it's like, I even tell my wife, I'm like, I'm still learning, shit, things are happening differently, but I'm still learning as we go. I'm like, and I feel like the fact that I am learning, it makes the process easier for me because I know where I'm at and I'm like, okay, if I do something bad here, I'm like, it may not have been fully my fault, but I can learn from it. You know what I mean? So I take upon all those things and it's just like, man, I don't really have any type of like worry like I used to back in the day. I tell people it's like people worry about too much stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like life is pretty easy. It's pretty simple. And most people don't realize that they've already made it. Like if you have a house, you know, you're paying the bills, whether if you're paying from check to check, you have a house over your head, your kids are eating food, everybody in the house is eating food, you've made it. You know what I mean? It's like, but people look at that like as a stressful life. And it's like, nah, you got to start realizing that, like, man, stressful is third world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're doing things that are just simple. You know what I mean?
Stressful is watching for rockets or bombs
exactly
coming
like,
on you.
Yeah,
you know, we
guys,
haven't had to worry about that kind of thing.
These kids are playing at playgrounds and there's missiles that are 100 yards dropping from them. So it's like, we don't know anything about that. Like, you know what I mean? America would never allow that type of stuff. You know what I mean? So that's the type of stuff when you look at that, like things I think will be a lot more easier for you. That is awesome.
Yeah, she is just like me.
Good character.
You know, she's like just the one. She's like a clone, and so like
yeah.
But that's the thing is like, since she's so much like me, I can basically tell like when she's bullshitting me.
Yeah.
And when she's like
genuine,
and like when she's doing homework, she doesn't want to like. I'm like, you just need to start doing it, even if you get the wrong answer. Don't just stare at the paper.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Don't get stagnant in the paper, just do it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But then she'll like... Because when I was young, I got like wrapped up in things and got like... maybe carried away. Easy to get carried away. You know, so like for me, it was hard to focus. And I don't have like ADHD or anything like that, but it's hard to focus and like finish one thing. You know? So...
That's just your mind at work at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just, that's exactly what it is. You know? But
I probably do have ADHD because I was always like kind of a high-strung kid. Like my mom used to have to keep a leash on me and stuff like that at the store because I would like
I had
run
one
off,
too, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, you know, very high-strung, had a lot of energy. And even now to this day, because it's like I'll be in the house, like I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you can like see inside my walls, you'd probably think I was insane. Because like I'd be downstairs like full-blown conversations with myself. Like it'll be a whole scenario, but it's nobody's there. And I'll be saying things that like, and I'll be talking like someone's right here, but no one's there. So I do those type of things, and you know what I mean? But it keeps me, you know, in tune with myself. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's kind of how I generate.
Pretty soon, maybe you'll be speed reading.
Exactly. God, I'm trying to get to I told the speed reader, listen, you have a gift, and I want to get there at some point on God.
What was he reading?
So you know what? I never was able.
Go ahead and grab it. I'm not gonna come between you.
I was never able to tune in to what he was actually reading. But I'm sure they were all nonsense books.
You want another one? I got a full fridge there.
Oh, well, you know what? Don't threaten me with a good time.
I've been known to. I've been known to threaten people with good times.
And that is my kind of party. Let me... Los Angeles River.
Yeah,
yeah, 5.5, that's more down my house.
There you go. Okay, I prefer the Mac Drizzle.
Okay. I've had that.
Yeah.
I went to, I don't know if you've ever been to Roxy's. It's a sandwich spot. They do like brisket sandwiches.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, like it's called Roxy's. Really good. You could take the kids and your wife there for sure.
It's barbecue?
So they have barbecue, they have, you know, different stuff, but Monday, Tuesdays, it's tri-tip. Thursday, Friday, it's brisket. That's their daily specials. But then they have like turkey, you know, all the little different sandwiches. But it's very good. Very, very good. But they have a beer selection, you know, and I always get my Mac Drizzle, you know what I'm saying, beers from there because they have the singles there. And I know the guy who works at Oak Park Brewing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've ever been there, and they produce a lot of really good things.
It's local?
Yeah, local, right there on Broadway.
Oh shit!
Yeah, Oak Park, you know, Oak Park. That's the South area, I guess.
Yeah, no, I know. I want to say maybe I've been there because my wife goes to like she works down in downtown, and so like
it's near Fixins. I don't know if you know where Fixins is. Fixins, that's what's his name? The guy, the basketball player who used to be the mayor. Johnson, or Kevin Johnson. It's his restaurant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the old mayor. I guess he used to be the mayor of Sacramento, Kevin Johnson's. Yeah, but it's his restaurant, and it's right there off of Broadway. But Oak Park Brewing is 1 block from there. So.
Oh shit! I'll try that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, my boy. I used to work at a brewery, and my boy Jeff, when I worked at the brewery I was at, he was there. He was kind of like the manager and stuff, and then he branched off. Now he's at Oak Park Brewing doing this thing. I advise everybody to go there because it's fire. He makes.
Well, shit, I might have him on the show.
Listen, contact me. I'll get him over here.
Because it's really, I mean, because that's
get him over here. He likes to do like he does a lot of live, live on like Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
He'll love coming here like that. Like you guys, it'll be a good vibe. I'll come with him. Like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like we can all come and talk old school stuff and beer and you're a beer connoisseur. And
am I?
Well,
I like to think of myself.
I looked in your fridge. I mean, you got me convinced.
I just buy them for the pictures, though.
Listen,
it's the pictures.
These are picture beers.
This is Mac Dre.
Listen,
come on. He's in beer form. He's back.
Listen, pictures alone, that means you got some good charisma about you. Okay, that means you know where to go.
I mean, you saw the kitty cat beer.
Yes. That was
that epic. Kitty cat beer will put you on your ass.
You see, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
You see, I left it where it was at. I was like, listen, wise. I need to pace myself.
That should put you down.
Oh man, anything in the 8s,
mm-hmm.
I'm like, that means I don't have to finish it.
Yeah.
To be filling anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is a beer that your problem with that beer is it's staying cold. Because when you start to drink those high alcohol content warm beers, it's like
it's like hitting whiskey. You know what I mean? So just hitting warm whiskey that was in a microwave for 15 seconds. You know what I mean? You're like taking a hot toddy shot. It's like it definitely goes down differently when it's warm like that, and it gives you that kind of that Mac Dre face. You give that. You know what I mean? Once you hit it,
smelled some piss.
Yeah, you smelled some piss. Like, oh God, I don't want this in my system.
Yeah, you got to bring out the bull.
Yeah, really you got to bring the bull out. And be like, listen, I ain't no bitch. I'm gonna make it happen.
Man, so you mentioned the speed reader.
Yes.
What else has been going on since last time we talked?
Oh man, work is always working. I mean. Me and Adrian, we the cleaners, so we like, man, we just, you know what? When was this? Wednesday. So Wednesday, we had to clean on top of it was on top of a building right there off of Broadway. I don't know the full backstory, but a guy was up there. He was dead, left for 5 days, but whoever killed him or whatever, they like stuffed him in a small ventilation vent.
Whoa.
Yes, mind you, the ventilation vent's about, this width.
Yeah.
The same width this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
it just fits one Bruce Willis to crawl through on Christmas.
And man, stuffed him in there. He was in there for 5 days. And then like the people, it was like a business, right below it was an optometry place, it serves glasses, things of that nature. And like, I guess 2-3 days in, the body was like leaking, and then it started, the smell was coming into the office. And then like when I went downstairs, like when we got to the scene, it was 5 days later, I seen all the blood. It's just blood all around on the outside of this ventilation vent, but there's a bunch of blood and just goop at the bottom of the ventilation vent. And there's 4 different holes, 4 different vents that go to different areas. So it didn't go completely in there, but it was thick enough in there to where it was like, I had to get like a shop vac and like suck up the blood and like
it's not even just blood though. It's the thick ooze that comes after you're decomposing, right?
Exactly. It's the thick ooze. And then like we had a scraper, like literally like a scraper. We were like scraping everything off of there, and it was like, and the smell was so bad. But then like that wasn't the worst part, so we had to go inside the building. On the 3rd floor, it was dripping down, like, so we had to like bust open, one of the little, to get up into the ceiling. We busted that open, and it was just like splattered blood everywhere. So we just told the dude, I said, you're just gonna have to get rid of some of these things and just like get new ones. And
ducting?
Yeah, new ducting. And then I was like, there was some of the it dripped down to the floor, so like the edging had like driplets on it, so we just like peeled the edging off and then cleaned whatever blood that was on like whatever surfaces. So that one was pretty bad. It took about like 2 hours, but it was. But the whole thing, like when we were there, I was like, what happened? I'm like, there's no cameras up here. I'm like, what were you guys doing up here? What transpired, for somebody that stuff you? The only thing I could come up with, I could be wrong, but I'm like, somebody had some dope. They were both smoking dope.
And somebody wanted more.
Somebody wanted more.
Yeah.
And then they're like, listen, you're not going to get that last hit. That's on me. So the drugs are taking over and I'm going to do whatever I got to do and I'm going to stuff you in here. And then, when you're on drugs, you got to think. You're not thinking regularly.
Sure.
So, you know what I mean? So that's what I feel like happened because the dude that was in there, he was a really small dude, like probably 130-pound dude. You know what I mean? So not a big dude at all. A small guy. So he was able to fit in this little thing. So I'm like, man, you guys are probably getting high, and then something went wrong, and then you just went and did that, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that makes you appreciate life when you see that stuff.
The ducting, right? It must go like out, down, around.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can't. Do you have to crawl in there and clean that shit?
No. So our cleaning is limited to, because like, let's say if it's like on a carpet area, we'll cut that area of the carpet out and then the rest is on you. You know? So we don't, we just take out where the contamination is pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's blood, like just like in this instance, a lot of it was dripping. So it was a lot of splatter, drip matter. You know what I mean? So I had to clean kind of like the top, so like just where how these lights are, like in between, there was like blood in between, like, where the wood would be, like on the edges. So I had to clean around that, just get that stuff. But then the rest of the stuff, I'm like deducting and everything. I'm like, I told him straight, I was like, you have to get rid of this and get new stuff. I was like, because we can't, all we're going to do is take it and throw it away. And it's just going to be missing spots. So, I let him know and informed him of that. And then, that's pretty much it. I mean, we can only clean so much. Like, it comes to a point like where it's like we can't get everything. At some point, you're going to have to do something, to get everything out. But we do the best that we can. Like my boss, like, and I always tell him, like, if you're not satisfied, something goes wrong when I leave and come out, I'm like, just call me. You know what I mean? I'll come back and, make and get it right to where it is. Because sometimes when you're there a lot of times, you can miss stuff. Just off of being stagnant, like, or concentrating on one area because it might be more stuff in one area than another. So you can kind of get lost in the sauce like that. But for the most part, when we got a big job, it's multiple people. So that's you need those eyes to, overlook to see, be like,
sure,
you will have everybody run through something at least once, to see if we missed anything. So yeah, it's not that bad, but it's like, but the blood, like, as far as like wherever it's at, we're going to clean wherever the blood is, but like some areas that's like we just can't do. You know what I mean? It's like if it's like soaked in on something or if it's on wood, you're going to have to, like break that down yourself. But we'll like cut out an area, just to get rid of it and things of that nature. But
it's like more for like a liability thing so that they can't get some kind of disease by touching some kind of bloodborne disease, right?
Exactly.
And which I will actually, I've used your guys' product, and I can swear by it because my dog got sprayed by a skunk right in the face. He was wearing the thing like a mask.
Yeah.
And just got like, it wasn't, the distance that it sprayed couldn't have been more than an inch. And just got it all over his face.
So it was a direct connect. Yeah.
Direct. Not one drop of this skunk spray went anywhere except
but on his face.
His face.
Yeah.
So
you got the full effect.
Yeah. And so like I talked to Adrian and it's like, hey, do you guys have anything? Like, so he brings over this like jug, but it's got like, just a little bit. It's like an empty jug almost, but it's got like concentrated like a thin bottom. He was like,
yeah,
you could use the rest of this, just, mix with water, blah, blah. I was like, okay, there's not a lot in there, but I bet it's potent.
Yeah, for sure.
And
definitely potent.
Sure enough, because when the dog walked in, He came in through our sliding glass door, and he immediately sunk his face right into the carpet and like tried to wipe it off. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. I put that on there, and it does not smell like skunk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I didn't use it on him, but like the carpet, I didn't have to cut it out.
Yeah.
I could, and it's
those enzymes in there. It's like I don't know fully what it is, but they're very highly volatile enzymes that break down, you know, like almost the matter of, you know what I mean, whatever it touches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a really good thing. So like, I tell people all the time, like I had to clean a car out one time. Like it was just an Uber driver's car. Like he got an Uber driver. The Uber driver, like he was drunk. The dude who he picked up was drunk, didn't know that his hand was cut. So he's just like all in the car, just, you know, just getting blood everywhere. Didn't even know until he got out. I went to clean the car up. You know, I had the same product that you used. You know what I'm saying? So I used that on the thing. When I was looking at the car, I was like, damn, how am I going to do this like successfully to get this dude to be like, oh, you did a good job. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then like when I used that product, I was like, I couldn't believe it as I was picking it up because the whole thing was just blotting. Just blotting the whole time, just pouring it on. Blotting, you know what I'm saying? No scrubbing, just all blotting. You just have to blot everything, just dip it out of there. So, and then it was working, and I was like, damn, this stuff is strong. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, this worked good. And even when the guy, he came in there, he's like, man, I didn't know how you were going to do it. Yeah. He's like, the whole time I'm in the house thinking like, what is this guy about to do? Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I was right along with you. You know what I mean? I was like, me and you were thinking the same thing because I was like, shit, it's so much. I'm like, how am I going to get it? But I got it out of there. It's like, man, that stuff is powerful and it works really good, especially on blood. Like, oh man, it's great.
It's like some Billy Mays stuff,
man,
you know?
for sure. It's like, goddamn, it's just like sorcery almost. You know what I mean? Because it's like, and like when people ask me, they'd be like, oh, well, what do you use? I can't fully explain to them because I can only tell them that it's a highly concentrated enzyme that breaks down. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of matters, like far as like with blood. You know, anything with strong scents, you know what I mean? And so it breaks down. So I'm like, that's the only thing I could really say. Like, I don't really know. You know what I mean? They don't give us a history lesson on this stuff that they give us. They just like, get out there. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
Man, I gotta hats off to you guys on that because that shit is real. That shit works great. Yeah. And of course, it's not available in these stores.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
You know.
You can't buy it in the stores. That's the thing. So then people ask me like, well, where can I get that? I'd be like, I said, I don't know. I said,
you don't want to know how to get this.
You don't want to know. Yeah, you got to have some type of secret contract that you don't even want to be a part of. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, my boss gets the shipments. I just put them in the car. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's about it. But yeah, but that stuff it works really, really good for sure. Like,
yeah.
I'm glad that you got to use some. You know what I mean? To kind of get a. You know what I mean?
That's firsthand experience.
Because you won't know unless you actually use it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You know what I mean? You can tell people like, oh man, this stuff works like ooh. But then when you use it, you're like, okay, this guy.
I mean, if it covers up that skunk oil odor shit, then I know that it works on decomposing bodies.
What? Come on.
Because that's biological bullshit that they all like.
The vile and bio stuff that comes out afterwards. Like, people don't understand, the hour after you die, your body is swelling up the whole time. And then the swell up is the release, it's getting ready to release whatever's inside of you.
Pop.
Pop. So now your bowel movements, everything you had beforehand, that's all coming out. So, you know, just all of that stuff. And then usually when you're found, it's usually
days after that.
Yeah. So you've just got saturated just filth that is just compost.
Just like poop and blood syrup.
Oh, God. It's just, I call it goop scoop. The goop scoop. I don't want to be stay away from the goop scoop. You don't want it. I promise you. Listen, the goop scoop is terrible because it's thick, it's nasty, it's hard to deal with. And it's like, oh, if it's been days, sometimes you could like scrape it off, but it's like, it'll stay together, but it's like a taffy. Almost like, you know, like you stretch a taffy like this.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's almost the same. It's terrible. Yeah, it's bad.
All right. Well, I think because my wife's got to go to Tyler Henry.
Okay.
We're going to have to end it there on Goop Scoop.
Listen.
Hey.
It's been a beautiful time. Just, it's always a good time, man.
As always.
And I'm always prepared. Anytime you're ready for me, man, just let me know.
Hey, we'll have that Impala on here.
Yes, we're going to have that Impala on here for sure. So that I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be something that we can do. Let's be doing side by side. Let's do, with the Camaro and the Impala,
Both Chevys?
Exactly. Both Chevys, do some comparisons and some, you know what I mean? See what they all got. I feel like that's something interesting everybody will like.
I'm down. We'll do that.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Next time. All right.
Time. Yeah, hold on. Let's do it with a beer. Classic with a beer.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming by.
Yes, sir. Until we meet again, I'm always prepared.
See you guys.
All right, guys. Later.